Today we've come to Green Dragon's hang gliding training school, which is in Surrey, just south of London in the UK, and we're going to get an insight into what happens when you learn to hang glide. So let's go in and have a look.
And that was really good. Hi Darren!
I don't know if I'm allowed in here, I've just walked in. This is Green Dragons. They also do paragliding and paramotoring. And here's a load of hang gliders. Well, hey. So first order of the day is briefing with a cup of coffee over to Andy, who runs Green Dragons.
Hi Darren, welcome to Green Dragons, welcome everybody. You've got your equipment, got your tow bridles, yes. Got your harnesses and your helmets all ready to go. Yes. By the way Darren, do you know we've got the Easy Fly here today?
Does it need somebody to fly it?
Are you heavy enough?
Am I heavy enough? Oh yeah!
Left up the track, straight up the track, top of the field, top of the track, and the field's on your right.
Fly. So that just clips onto there like so. Oh yeah! Yeah! Don't hit me with it!
So you can do it one man?
Yeah.
And it is literally about a 30-second job or a 1-minute job to put the whole thing together.
Even an untrained paraglider pilot could do it.
So there we have the Easy Flyer rigged up. Mr. Test Pilot,
Wrong way round.
how many times have you flown a hang glider?
Never. Never ever.
Julio!
Yeah.
Are you ready to fly?
Let's do it.
Julio, yeah?
Rodney, is our phone ringing?
We haven't got a phone, Del.
It's getting really exciting now. Green Dragons, Easy Flyer! Yeehaw! It's easy, I'm an Easy Flyer! Woo! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! How good's that? How good's that?
Nice one mate!
In addition to hang gliding, Green Dragons also teaches paragliding.
Briefing for your hazards, okay? You're absolutely right. Rotor will be up that end of the field.
One of the first things that a hang glider pilot needs to do is to learn just how to pick up the hang glider and to be able to keep it level and to set off on the takeoff run with it.
When picking the glider up, straight back, shoulders, push your chest forward. Pistols, I've got 2 pistols. I'm going to draw the pistols. I'm going to go on the outside of the control frame with my pistols pointing forwards. On my index fingers, I'm going to point down the down tubes. Keep my back straight. I'm going to come up and I'm going to lift the glider on the outside of my shoulders, pushing my chest forward. Excellent. Good communication with your nose, man. Let the nose go up an inch so the air just gets underneath the sail, so there's a little bit of billow here. Chest forward.
Little up.
Because of the windy conditions here today on the airfield, that means it's quite good for tethered flights, for those initial flights of the pilot and somebody's actually holding onto the glider to make sure that they can't get it wrong, completely stuff up and pile in.
And make sure there's no twists. Feet in first, keep hold of the metalwork. I've still got hold of my metalwork. And we have Indian morning that we call show. SHOW, security, suspension, harness and helmet, observation, wind and weather.
No, but your carabiners not done up.
Excellent, you've got it, brilliant. Push out. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Good. Now pull in, lean forwards, pull in, run faster. Run faster. Push out, push out. Okay.
This is Andy Shaw, who runs Green Dragons. Andy, I understand that you teach hang gliding and paragliding. How do you go about it?
We teach two sports on parallel to each other. Sometimes we use the hill launching method and sometimes we'll use a winch launching method. It's handy to have both the tools to our disposal so we can look at the weather conditions on the day, look at the trainees that have walked in and see what tasks they need to do.
How long have you been doing this? I mean, do you actually know what you're doing?
Got my BHP instructor's rating in 1984, so I'm really proud to be a long-standing instructor in the UK.
My YouTube channel's called Darren Brown Extreme Sports for a reason, but how dangerous actually is it?
Well, hang gliding and paragliding, you know, they're only dangerous if practiced in ignorance. You know, years and years ago we learned how not to do it. So if you're thinking of learning to fly a hang glider or paraglider, if you go to someone that's been teaching hang gliding and paragliding for many years and in the BHPA, the national governing body, they take you through all the student training record and the progress, you know, it's safe, it's not dangerous. The accidents and incidents you ever hear about are normally the person that's qualified, just like driving a car. You get your licence, you think you know how to drive the car, you drive it on a wet day, on a motorway which you've never driven on before, in the rain, and you skid and lose control.
I quite often hear people say they'd love to do it, but it's too expensive. How much does it actually cost to learn to hang glide or paraglide?
Well, you can, in the UK, you can do what's called like a Funday, like a trial day with most hang gliding schools. So the cost you're looking at between probably 150 to 230 pounds, depending on where you're learning. To take the sport up, the first course, elementary pilot, you're looking at spending 600 to 800 pounds. And the second course, which everyone's aiming for, called the club pilots, you're flying unsupervised, is a further sort of 700 to 800 pounds.
Okay, and how much does it cost to buy the equipment that you'll then need?
The equipment, if you get a good glider serviced professionally, so you know all the wires have been renewed, all the nuts and bolts have been replaced, you're looking at spending probably about, you know, £1,200 to £1,500.
Hang gliding, as I know, is very weather dependent, and for hang gliding training I guess you need absolutely the right weather for it. How do you go about sorting out when students come to learn with you?
People can book in for one day at a time, they can book for block days, they can book weekends only. It's around the weather, as you're saying, so the night before at 9 o'clock everyone rings their instructors here at Green Dragons and we'll give them the start time for the following day.
If I've booked to come in a week on Friday and the weather is rubbish a week on Friday, does that mean I get my booking for another day?
Absolutely. And all the schools validate courses for normally about a year, 12 months. So if you book a 5-day course, you've got 12 months.
I'll say no on the weather and learning to fly. It's really dependent on you as the person learning to fly as to how often you can make yourself available. If the weather looks good and you're available, ring your instructors and find out, can we go flying the next day. I managed to get my qualification in just under 3 months, so it's possible, but you have to put that commitment into doing it.